That's right. We are back, and you're listening to the Original Sports Show, and I'm your host, Leopold Jeans, the Big OG, broadcasting live on CRN Digital Talk Radio, baby. Yeah, loving it, living it, and talking sports and spitting sports fire. Me and my engineer Matt taking over the world 1 hour at a time. 1 hour at a time, baby. Bump that, bump that. I like that. Yeah, that's bumping right there. We got the headlines coming up, baby. We got the headlines. We're talking some headlines in sports. It's sports and life and love. That's what we do, baby. And one of the things that's been on my mind, one of the things that I've been discussing all week with friends in the media, outside of the media, on Facebook and everything else, is how the NCAA does their college athletes. And, you know, I looked into it a little deeper. I wrote an article this week also. You know, shame on the NCAA. If you go to ogsportshow.com, you can check it out right there on the front page. And, you know, you asked the big question, you know, these college football athletes, they use their likeness in EA Sports video games. They sell their jerseys. They do all this stuff in their name, and these athletes don't get anything. They don't even have enough money to bring their mama to the game, to fly her to the game. And you look at some of the things that have happened in the past with Reggie Bush getting his Heisman taken away for driving a used El Camino car, and all these little things and these little rules that they have to oppress these kids who happen to be majority young black males, by the way. You know, 70% of them on the gridiron are black young African American males. And it's like the elephant in the room. Nobody talks about it. And I looked a little bit deeper, and I was like, let me ask the big question. Where's the leadership? Where's the leadership? And then I look at the NCAA. I look at the 7 top BCS conferences, okay? And this is not me making this up. And out of those 76 or so schools, there are 3 black coaches. 3. Louisville, Stanford, and Texas A&M. 3. Now, if that's not an issue, I don't know what it is. What is an issue? That is an issue. You know, that's a major issue. And out of the 120 FBS schools, football bowl subdivision colleges, there are 15 black coaches. And that's just ridiculous. And it's unacceptable. And the NCAA, you guys need to look at yourself in the mirror, because there's something going on. And, you know, no one talks about it because no one out there is like me. There's no one else is the big OG. No one else, they don't have to talk about it. Why would they talk about it? It's not their job to talk about it. But it is my job to talk about it. That's why the man above put me here, to bring it to your attention that you're not doing the right thing and you're not paying attention to what's going on in college football. And it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You know, think about it. If you were offered a $3 million cash or a 3.5-year scholarship, which is what these athletes get, they don't get a full scholarship. They get left hanging literally their last semester of college. And they're getting loans and all this stuff to just try to make it through that last semester. You know, if someone offered you $3 million or a 3.5-year scholarship to go to college, what would you do? Just think. You can go to college, get some student loans, you know, work your butt off for that last semester, go out to the workplace, look for a job, seeking approval of people that may or may not hire you based on whether or not they like your personality and smile, trying to fit in. Although you have no life experiences, you seek that approval to get that job, to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, maybe get a little bit of overtime, only to have the federal government and state government take 1/3 of what you make a year, especially if you make under $100,000. It's ridiculous. You call that the American dream? I don't. You take my money away, and then you give someone who makes $26 million a less tax break than me? I have an issue with that. And I'm not going to digress, even though the election is a week away. But I'm going to stick with the topic here. You know, what the NCAA doesn't tell you, what they never tell you guys, you young males, is what you're really worth. They never tell you how much money you actually generate for these institutions. The NCAA boosted $500 million in net assets in 2012, just so you young athletes know that. Mainly on the backs of young black African-American males. Football and basketball, the meat and potatoes of college football. Call it what you want. It pays for all those other sports, and it even pays for you professors' salaries. You know, I'll never forget, I was watching the documentary The U, okay? And this old white Southern woman professor down in Florida had a football player in her class, a kid from the ghetto, sitting in her class, trying to make it through whatever and learn whatever knowledge she had to share. And this woman had the gall, the nerve, to look in that camera and said, why are you here? Why are they here? Referring to football players being on campus and going, to college. I looked at the TV and I yelled, they're there to pay your salary. You racist, you know what? If that isn't a racist statement, I don't know what it is. And that's what you're dealing with. These pompous, arrogant professors walking around on camp. Oh, I'm the smart one here. I'm the smart one here. If you were so smart, you would do the right thing. You'd be ethical, and you'd bring it up, and you talk about the fact that these football programs and basketball programs, which, by the way, 90% of the basketball programs have young black male basketball players. 70% of the gridiron are young black males. On the gridiron, 36% of those young black American athletes graduate, and on the basketball, on the hardwood, only 20% graduate. Something's wrong, and it's my job to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and have a voice and not talk about relevant stuff. This is extremely relevant. It's extremely off kilter. Something is wrong. You guys need to pay attention to this and fix it. The least you can do is make sure that they graduate. That's all I'm saying. You have enough money to do it. You've generated enough revenue to do it. You don't need to kick these kids to the curb when they're done. You don't need to say, yeah, thanks for slam dunking for us. Thanks for scoring that touchdown, Reggie Bush. Oh, by the way, we're going to demand a pound of flesh from you 5 years later. And we're going to take away that Heisman Trophy that you earned and that you won because you were so good. It's a joke. $500 million in net assets for the NCAA in 2012. And these people, these college institutions, they're making so much money, they don't even know how to handle it. They don't even know what to do with it. The last thing on their mind is making sure that you graduate. The last thing on their mind is coming up with a policy, a requirement to make sure that these athletes graduate, even though they're the ones that generated the money. Even though they're the ones that made the money, that pays for all of the sports. Badminton, swimming, baseball, soccer. That all comes from the meat and potatoes, baby. All comes from the meat and potatoes, baby. And the whole thing you're doing with these coaches is ridiculous. It's like modern day slavery, man. And I'm not afraid to say it. Y'all sure is fine. Thank you so much for letting me coach there. I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Y'all sure is giving me enough attention. Y'all sure is giving me enough work over here. I thank you so much there. Oh, wait. I hate to break it to you, but the truth hurts, baby. We got to stick with it, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more when we come back on the Original Sports Show, baby. That's right. This is the Big OG, broadcasting live on CRN Digital Talk Radio, baby. Holla.